Adaptation and ego. When you learn new things, it seems to come when you're ready. So timing is critical in performing and acting on a physical and spiritual level. They are both in harmony with each other. And I think that's perhaps why future telling isn't as difficult as people make it out to be. Because it all pertains to the now, in the moment. Because if you actually think about it, the past, what is it? Where is it? The future, what is it? Where is it? Are there real answers to these? Those answers are actually found right here in the moment. So, what is the difference between being selfish and being selfless? Is there such a thing? The youth have been teaching me this valuable lesson, and I would like to share it in a complex way. One that is built within a philosophy of I am I, and I am I. A trinity, if you will. A trinity of exploration of consciousness. One that requires choice. So, a human is when you begin, is origin. Welcome to the human race. As they slap your bottom in a brightly lit white room with lots of noises, and you're all drugged up. You still belong to mankind. You are related to a race with a human voice, a shape. You have nature and knowledge, and life is built in you if you would like to use it. You do not have to. You are legally dead until you act upon it. And how you do that is you simply move in a way to act upon qualities of improvement and skill set. So for the younger generation, having skills and talents removes you from the bucket of equality into the bucket of exceptionalism, of uniqueness, of individuality with personality. Now, what is the difference? Now, I am is human. Am I is questioning your actions and your motives. And through that, you begin to develop feelings and dispositions that are proper to mankind. You are displaying tenderness and compassion and a disposition to treat others with that same kindness. However, it does not mean if you are being taken advantage of or violence is being committed against you that you do not have the power and capability of defense. Since you have found my channel, you will understand that I teach the warrior and the shaman, the priest and the hunter. Your unique nature is what I desire to witness in return. This is what gives me pleasure, is to see growth in others, which brings value to the things around me, or they are making the world a better place in their own way. So what is ego? The E comes from the heart. That sound vibrates at your chest. So you already know that that is going to be built in the word itself. The O, since that comes from deep, and that comes from your generative properties, right? or your degenerative properties, otherwise known as your reproductive system. Then there is the G, which is sacred and like geometry, where there's uniformity and symmetry between all things, between the masculine and the feminine properties, hence why the G has both the curves and the angles built into it. So it is a balanced letter between both the mind and the gut in this instance for this definition of ego. So ego in Latin is actually self and is the consciousness and awareness in man. It is what is inside. Now there is a complexity that is born from this. And that complexity is both mortal and transient, okay, aka a personal experience, right? And it is also one of divinity, or immortal and mundane, one that is permanent, never changing. Now, permanent and never changing for some may call it boredom. So transience comes in through time as a way to mark the intensity of the process of beautifying goodness in the world. And when you participate within that process of beautifying the goodness in the world, you live in what is called the stream. Things become just a little bit easier. And it's not because of any outside forces per se. It's simply because you're no longer fighting yourself. You are no longer in egotism because you understand the difference between individuality and personality. So let's look at that. Personality is that which embraces all the characteristics and memories of one's physical life. It is like a lower self. It has a time and a place where it provided value. Now that value is determinant on the choices in which were being made at the time. Now to build a new personality, you simply must enjoy a new adventure or quest. And taking responsibility for your decisions that you make on that. And this builds character. And then individuality is the immortal and imperishable, mundane trinity, right? Of the divine, the rational, and the animal. The divine being your higher self, the rational being your middle ground, your heart, right? And then the animal being your lower self. And one is not better than the other, or they all have a divinity in them. And it is through this unity of self that you recognize and others recognize. So that way you have your own individuality and personality. And people will understand that we are not living in a simulation, because you are witnessing the world in a unique frame when you look at things in the organic spectrum. Are not trees, the clouds, snowflakes, people, you, are all of these things not completely unique? There's no two alike. A simulation, by definition, is a copy of something else. It is mimicked. It is mirrored. So I ask you, how do you tell the difference between a simulation and reality? Tell me of your ego, and what is your identity?